Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome to what we are told is the final beta period for Humankind. This is a closed beta, but you can get into it by just purchasing the game. So if what you see here really sets you alight, you can go ahead and try it yourself at a moment's notice. Humankind is the upcoming 4X from Amplitude Studios, the creator of the Endless games, which of course I have a great fondness for. There's plenty of evidence of that here on the channel. But it's more historical. I hesitate to say that it's like Civilization, because I think it's not like Civilization in a bunch of important ways, but it's definitely at least more in that direction. And without any further ado, without any other big explainers, I think let's just go ahead and get in here. I'm imagining probably a lot of you who are watching this watched the last Humankind open dev period, so probably there's a broad familiarity with what's going on here. So I've done a little bit of reading about what is different in this period, the Edgar Allan Poe beta, that is who we are playing as, if it was not clear from the previous screen, versus the Victor open dev period that was the previous one. And my impression is they've made stability and influence much more difficult to manage. They're no longer going to be basically just like infinite free resources. So we're going to have to pay attention to that. For the record, I am not touching my mouse right now, so that shuddering that the magnifying glass is doing there has me like a little tiny bit worried. I wonder if my mouse is... Yeah, I've had it for a long time. Maybe it's just it's just kind of getting on in years. But we'll try to pursue some different strategies here than we have in the past. Go for some different cultures, some different affinities. I think there's a lot to explore in this system yet. And one thing that I really haven't done much of is like combat-focused stuff. Obviously, it's not really the way that I usually play these games. It's not my most favorite way to play these games. So maybe we'll try and be in a little bit more aggressive here. All right, so we've entered the Neolithic era. In order to move into the next era, sort of start the real game, we have to pick up one of these stars. We have to either have 5 population and/or units, discover 10 science, or hunt a total of 3 animal units. Now, one thing that I have read is that the Neolithic legacy trait is not working consistently for people. Some people seem to be unable to get it to pop, no matter how much science they get from curiosities. So we're going to give that a try. I see we have a science curiosity right here. But if we don't get it, I guess that will be a huge bummer, because that's definitely my preferred way to move into the next era. Let's start by grabbing this, and then we have an animal here. Doing combat is going to, I believe, remove all of our movement. It will cost all of our movement to fight. So I think I'm not going to. I think I would rather make progress toward this this curiosity, and of course, stepping onto a river also costs all of our movement. So if we did the fight, then next turn, this would be my entire move. We could try to go north instead, and we did see a curiosity up there, but I don't know. I'm not too worried. Fighting animals is also worth food, but I think it's worth less. It's worth like considerably less than picking one of these up. So we'll just start by going this way. Okay, yeah, 15 food. That was almost enough to create reinforcements right then and there. Okay, we have an animal sanctuary, so ransacking that would definitely generate us some food. We see some silk. I guess I didn't actually look at what this was. Okay, that is just raw stability. It seems like it might be strictly worse than the silk, actually. Huh. Alright, well, let's move up onto the high ground, I guess. So we have a strategic resource from a future era here, which maybe makes this a region worth settling in. I will say that I would prefer to settle near a river for sure. Was that a real animal? Oh, no, it was a science curiosity. Interesting. So we have to end our turn on the sanctuary to ransack it. I think I'm going to do this, and then we'll come back and we'll get the science thing in a second here. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. Do not build outpost. Ransack. Alright, if there were animals here, we'd have to take care of them first, and you can see a preview of, wow, Okay, a very solid reward there. That's a whole unit worth of food by itself. Okay, so this thing has 8 combat strength and each of our units has 10. We should split this army up. Can I get around? Yeah, hold on a second. Let's walk around this thing and fight it with one of the armies while the other one, runs off to get stuff done. Because I want to be as efficient as possible with my movement in this early phase. Like, getting to explore before you actually have to put down your first city is one of my favorite things about Humankind. I think this Neolithic phase of the game is a really, really smart addition to the formula. Yeah, just jump you. So let's do a manual battle here. I'm sure the AI could do the thing, but I am reluctant to try. I do not necessarily trust the AI to make the right decisions. So this is fine. It really is pretty straightforward. So we deploy in our deployment zone here, and then we just jump you. I'm just always nervous about, when doing auto-resolution, I'm always nervous about it just, like, deciding to place our units in a bad place for a reason I don't understand and causing us to take extra damage. Alright, so we got an extra 5 food out of that. Unfortunately, the 15 food tribe... I should have noticed which tribe was the one that was almost full and had them do the fight. That was a small error. And here in the early game, small errors, they snowball. So do I want to go back for that curiosity? Oh, there is potentially more food next to it. We also got an event. Your scout comes to you breathless from exertion. Between gasps, he tells you that he spied another tribe not far ahead. He leads you on, then after giving a stop signal, you drop to your bellies and crawl forward in the brush. Ahead, a young woman no more than 13 summers is leading a ceremony. Her audience, a dozen or so equally young or younger tribesmen. Many are crying. And when you see the bodies laid out, you understand they are in mourning. You know what you must do. So we could welcome them in and just get one more unit, I assume. Or we could withdraw and gain +2 movement speed. So obviously this will help us push toward that star, but we're already getting food so quickly. I'm not really that worried about this, and I kind of think that just running really fast... I'm gonna take this. We're going to run really fast. That's how we're going to solve our problems. Okay, so this is the units that got that. Yeah, let's back up here and get food because we can spawn another unit and then split up. Do we want to move first? Not really, because I think at the beginning of next turn I want to split these and run someone down south here. So let's just take this battle. We can definitely instant resolve with 2 units against the deer. There's no way that the AI could possibly lose that. Okay, that seems worth our time. So here we have some salt. Okay. Actually, a salt deposit near a river is maybe very compelling territory for our first settle. And also I have discovered the Vinikunka. Okay. I mean, it is a very pretty mountain. There's no two ways about that. So, if we have control of the natural wonder, it'll generate some money and stability in that city, and also it will give us a bunch of influence. And like I said, what I was reading on the Steam forums and stuff is that influence is a little bit harsher this time around than it was in the previous one. So we may well want to settle here. The region has salt and a river and a natural wonder. It's kind of perfect. So let's take a moment to talk about fame here. We just earned our first points of fame. Fame is victory points. At the end of the game, whoever has the most fame is the winner. We got fame for being the first person to discover that particular world wonder. And there's one of these feats available, a competitive deed available for each different wonder of the world. And then there are other things like be the first player to, build a railway line, be the first player to build a wonder. So these are things we are all competing against the other players for. And then also, each player's empire has internally a bunch of ways to generate fame that are, not competitive with the others. And anytime we earn an era star, we will also get fame. So you can see if we get that growth star right now, it would be worth 40 fame. And over time, the value of stars decreases. So you are encouraged to do the thing quickly, whatever the thing might happen to be. We are not going to fight this mammoth because I'm pretty sure we'll just die. We're gonna need some extra bodies for that one. But we can have a look around over here. Okay. That seems like a thing we ought to interact with. And in fact, there's just another animal here. So this unit's not at perfectly full health. You know what? Let's do the ransack now. Get ourselves another unit, and then we'll take the animal on next turn. And here, we're going to split you up. Oh, hey, a new science thing has spawned. I don't know what we're going to do with all of this influence that we're getting from these ruins. Presumably, we'll figure it out. Okay, even more... Okay. Unfortunately, this salt is not in that same region. But if we built a city here, we could easily outpost over there for it. One thing that I do find pretty counterintuitive is I separated a unit from that army, and then I expected to be to have selected the unit that I separated out. Those broke down a little bit differently than I was thinking they would. All right, so our unit has healed back to full. We could just move one unit out so that it doesn't participate in the combat and thus lose all of its movement points. But it probably ought to be the fast one, right? This is also the one that would get another person if we fought the deer with it, though. Yeah, all right. It's a shame that new units spawning in that army don't get the benefit of the Swift tag. All right, let's crunch them up. So here I just want to make sure that we're not standing in the river tile as we fight, because standing in the river tile does give you a small combat strength penalty. Nobody wants to fight while crossing a river. Okay, that broke against us pretty badly there, actually. We still have a combat strength benefit, but we rolled pretty poorly on that first attack roll. Alright, so we got ourselves that Era Star. You can see we only got... here, we'll worry about this stuff in a second. Yeah, we only got 20 fame for it because it took us a while to earn it. I do want to, at the very least, grab this star as well before we move on. And like I said, I think the science star is still available, but I think the extra benefit you get for all of the hard work that you would put in is not there. So we probably will not wait for that. I guess it's not really worth jumping in this river. I was thinking, if you move onto a river, it ends your move, but then once you're on a river tile, you can move very easily up and down the river. But we can see that one terminates right there. So let's just head up here instead. Okay, so we're very close to spawning our 5th unit. So we're going to not move up to the next era just yet. Let's get that extra fame star, and then also, you know, just like free extra bodies. It's not quite as easy to spawn new units in the next era. So you only have 2 food. You picking this up probably will not cause us to gain a body. So let's do it with the fast army. Alright, we got our Era Star, and separate these again just so that we have... Oh, hey, that's actually a player border there. Oh, you have like an actual force over here. Maybe we should merge back up. Nope, that's okay. Was not expecting the sudden camera movement. Yeah, maybe for safety we ought to gather up here. And I think it might be the case that we could do some fighting. Like maybe we move up into the next era right now so as to get access to the ability to gain fame from combat and then do some combat. Is there anything up this river for us? Okay. There is a lot of food available. I think let's go ahead and move up. The science star is pretty far off. We'd have to find, at the rate we're doing this, 5 more science curiosities, and it just seems like a big hassle. So, when you move up into a new era in this game, you pick a civilization, and that gives you a variety of benefits. First of all, each culture, not civilization, has an affinity, which will tell you what that culture sort of broadly is good at. It will give you a special ability, and it will also affect the way your era the era stars score. And then you get a trait that your faction will hold on to even through future eras after you change off of this culture. A unique building of some kind, and a unique combat unit. I think in previous games we've focused on food and industry, which seem like the most obvious things to go for early in the game. This time maybe we could try something a little bit different. So there's aesthetics, there is money, but maybe we want to try like a combat focused one. So the Mycenaeans get a unit cost reduction plus experience when creating units. That's pretty cool. You get a fortress that gives stability, fortification, plus combat strength in combat for units in or adjacent to the district. And 2 points of combat strength in this game is fairly significant. The Hittites are also combat focused. I didn't actually look at that. What was the unit? Stronger when attacking during the first round. Okay, that's interesting. And I mean, that's a good time to be buffed up, when you're at full health and everything. This is maybe compelling. The Hittites just get +1 combat strength all the time. The Awari is fortified, and I think that's it. That's the only way it's different from normal outposts. Oh, well, you can use it as a land unit spawn. I think that's not true of normal outposts. And then they have a cavalry unit. You need horses, and I think that's copper. But 23 combat strength is relatively high for the era, and a unit attacked by them can either move or attack next turn, not both. Is pretty powerful. Is that it for combat? Sort of. The Assyrians are like combat-ish. Another thing we could do is just pick a civilization that has like some broad growth stuff, and then just fight with our basic units, but while still making sure to grow our +2 science per research technology on capital. Feels like it's going to take a little while for that to wind up, but I like plus food and plus science. +3 science per adjacent farmer's quarter early on. That does seem very powerful. And it's a district that does dual resource exploitation. This requires copper, but it is a strong anti-cavalry unit. I'm fairly sure I've not done Babylon before. Why don't we try this? We get a decent unit. We did not see any sources of copper, though, did we? I mean, I guess it's possible this is copper. Maybe we don't even know about the first era strategic resources yet. And setting yourself up for more population, like food focus early on, is very, very powerful. I think we're going to adopt Babylonian culture.
The challenges of a young civilization. It's hard keeping up with the neighbors when they have the wheel and you don't. Humankind learns quickly that everyone contributes. If you're terrified of wild animals, you can grow lentils or catch fish. Tribes settle towns. Towns develop markets, and markets begin the exchange of goods, services, and most important, rumors and hearsay.
Okay, so we move up. The appearance of all of our stuff changes. And now that we are in the first era, okay, somebody discovered the wonderful Danakil Desert. Now that we're in the first era, our whole fame acquisition mechanism has changed. So in every era after the Neolithic, there are 7 different categories of stars you can earn, each with up to 3 stars in them. Because we are a scientific civilization, our scientist stars are worth 50% more fame than the other ones. And that's true. Each affinity makes one category 50% more valuable to you. So this is just get technologies. Obviously, that's pretty straightforward. The other things we can earn stars for are owning territory, generating influence, building districts, which is a thing that we're definitely highly incentivized to do in the early game, get population and or military units, make money, and destroy enemy military units. Now, it's important to note that this is destroy units and not win battles, because in this game sometimes you will win a battle without actually getting any kills. So it's important to note we have to actually finish them off. So, I mean, let's just have at 'em, right? We could go after this mammoth instead, I suppose. It's an easy time to be able to kill a mammoth, but no, I'm gonna fight. We're gonna fight a player. Nope, never mind. That player is retreating. Now there's a limit to how much retreating an army can do. If it has the retreating tag, it will be unable to do that thing until the tag goes away. So if we just catch up with them, we could have at them next turn. Oh, hey, it's another army that we apparently just didn't have vision of. Well, do I want to just attack you now? Your unit has 12 combat strength to my 13. I was thinking we were going to have this unit come up here and put down the outpost that will become the basis of our city. I'd be very embarrassed if we lost it, but I think we can probably take them. The numbers say we can probably take them. So we just have to make sure that we're not standing in a very silly place when we do so. So they have a flag here. The army being attacked has a flag that the attacking army can capture to win the battle, so that you can't effectively win a defensive battle by just hiding.
Over this way.
I'm just gonna go stand on your flag here, which will be very embarrassing for you. And then you have +1 combat strength from not being the attacking unit. I think I'm actually just going to end the round, so I am the defending unit, but they are incentivized to push me off the flag. Yep, and now that they are more damaged than we are, does give us a little bit of combat strength, and they've lost the defending tag because they attacked last turn, so we'll press on them now. Them starting back behind their flag is probably not a great play, but I think they were trying to hide from me. All right, movement toward a star, and then we're going to potentially do a fairly similar thing over here. So, we claim a territory by putting down an outpost, and once the outpost is finished, it can be converted into a city at a cost. The first one converts for free, but after that, you have to pay a fairly hefty influence cost to continue founding new cities. So putting down in a place where we potentially have control of a wonder seems like a really good source of early influence. If we put down here, I guess we can, hold on, let me turn on the tile yields here so we can make this decision in a slightly more informed way. You can see a lot of tiles in this game only give like 1 or 2 points of resources. There's a lot of like 1 industry, 1 food. Oh, but these, we have some Terra Rossa here, which gives science. Okay, that's very interesting. So we know that our good district, our unique district, will allow us to pull up food and science yields from the tiles that we build it into. So we could afford to put the city down like here or here, and then build out to grab all that science. I don't the city, the basic city, I think, can draw science out of the tiles. But I'm a little nervous about that because of the fact that it's only showing us the food and industry. Maybe I'm misremembering, or maybe it's different than it used to be. +8 food, +12 industry seems like a pretty good start. So like this is a big benefit of building along a river is the tiles just have more points of resources in them. And then we have all of this rocky, hilly terrain that gives us industry. I think this is actually a pretty strong starting location. All right, so that's the thing we're gonna do next turn. All right, and then we have this army up here who we put in the river so that they would be able to go up the river quickly and just explore this area that unfortunately looks like it has absolutely nothing in it. Well, you know, we're guessing blind here. We're out in the dark. Our scientist affinity also gives us a special ability here. We can set cities into collective minds mode, turning all of their industry and money output into science for 5 turns. Also, because we are scientists, we are allowed to research stuff from the next era, so we can research era 1 and 2 technologies. I don't know that that's going to come up necessarily because we have very, very poor science output at the beginning of the game. We'll see. So I think once again we're going to try to just grab these guys right away. At the very least, I'm going to run them off. I think I did not grab them in time, and now they're moving over to that. They're moving over to where I wanted to put down my thing. I think we'll put it down here. The plan is to expand into those science tiles. All right, so it's going to take a few turns for that to build, and the amount of time that it takes to build is based on the amount of industry in the area. And we're just going to pursue these guys. Once we're set up here, we'll think about, pushing south and seeing what's going on with their stuff down there. All right, found another saffron deposit. I'm going to get off of the river here and take the high ground. Not really a lot to see, unfortunately. We can definitely win this fight. I'll give the AI the auto battle on 13 to 8 because all of our units upgraded into this basic scout unit, which has a little bit higher combat strength. And in theory, could just fight a mammoth straight up if it came down to it. I want to fight. Okay, they're willing to do it. They're willing to actually stand in battle. So, river tiles. Give a combat penalty. I do not want to start in the river tiles. I guess this isn't in a river tile. Yeah, we'll flank around a little bit. It'll be all right. So the other side is just scouts, right? Oh no, they're still a tribe, actually. They have not upgraded their... they have not moved into the first area yet. I'm gonna not move forward. Let's see if they come at us. It's possible that they'll just play defensively. They should play defensively, because given the position of the river tiles, they have kind of an advantage here. I gotta tell you, I was not expecting that. So, what we can do here is set units on... our units get a combat strength bonus from fighting while adjacent to each other. So we can set up units like this and take advantage of that. And if they don't reinforce this unit next turn, then we're going to be able to completely surround it, which is going to put them in really bad shape. Okay. So when attacking a unit while you have a unit on the exact opposite side of it, you get this +4 combat strength from rear attack. Unfortunately, this did not quite work out the way I wanted it to. Yeah, it's a little awkward because this is the unit that I really want to get that rear attack bonus on. I think what we're going to do is just swap you two. Can I do that? No, unit positions can only be swapped during deployment. I can move you through the friendly space, though, and then have you step over here. So this turn we are taking the crossing river combat penalty. It's weird that we weren't last turn. Even with that, we are still stronger than they are because of the rear attack bonus. But not by as much as I would like. I think I'm just not going to have this unit attack, because doing so would kill me while not really dealing any damage. Yep, and now we have the position... Oh, that was the end of the battle. Battles are only 3 rounds in the early game, so we will have to pick that up again next turn. And we have that area still building its outpost, and we're just going to keep scouting around. Okay, so we found some horses, we found some other strategic stuff. It is still possible for us to find curiosities out here. I would hope to find something for all the time that we're spending running units around in the wilderness instead of participating in empire building. So we have 2 turns left on the outpost creation. All right. So let's get back into this battle. This turn, we have a pretty obvious get off of the river and then do a rear attack with no river penalty move. which will give us a victory. Sadly, we are going to end up a lot weaker than I would have liked. Their unit chose to do nothing at all, just absolutely terrified. So we'll set up that same thing, get that rear attack bonus. Alright, we paid 1 unit to kill 2 units. Not totally ideal. But look at all this progress. Look at all the killing we've done. Again, very different from the way I usually play these games. I think I'm going to go ahead and just fold these into a single army for the moment, just for protection's sake. And you can see, because we're in our own territory, we are going to heal. This unit out here is not healing, and it will have to come home eventually. In particular, this is it's a little bit of a bummer that we cannot just fight wildlife all the time. We can attack that animal sanctuary, which is a tile that will just spawn animals endlessly. Alright, so it looks like 3 other players got to Era 1 on that turn. Let's head down toward Green's area. We'll end the turn inside of our own borders so as to get another round of healing here, but I want to see exactly what Green's got going on down there. Okay, another sanctuary. That's copper. Alright, let's go back and get this sanctuary. I just wanted to make sure that we got to look around first, because of course ransacking does require us to end our turn in the space. And now that we are no longer... So, like, now that we moved into the first era, you have to think of our population in terms of a different scale. Like, hunting a deer or something is no longer going to feed a meaningful percentage of our total organization. So now we're getting some wealth from the hunting, but if we're gonna feed people, we're reliant on agriculture. So I think we're good here. We're just gonna have you stop for the turn. We're mostly healed up. It's looking pretty good. We could take on that mammoth if we want. So we don't actually see any green stuff. Actually, never mind. This is exploitation. So these tiles are adjacent to their outpost. Maybe we could run down there and get that outpost? So we made ourselves a little money, and we know where we can go to make ourselves a little bit more. There are multiple different kinds of animals, and all animals are either peaceful, with the peace symbol here, or aggressive. A mammoth will not just attack us out of the blue, but we may run into other stuff like, I don't know, bears or whatever, that we would have to be afraid of. And our outpost is finished. Like I said, the first one's free. Let's just go ahead and make it a city. So here we have Babylon. We can build new districts, lay districts down onto the map. You can see each one has particular types of resources that they exploit. So when we lay down a district, it will effectively claim all of the tiles adjacent to us for the city, but it will only pull its exploited resources out of those tiles. So like if we put this here, it gets no benefit from this tile or this tile, even though they do have food on them. So I think what we're probably going to do first here, we are already exploiting all of the resources on the tiles adjacent to the city. I think what we're going to do is probably we'll build a district here, and then build our unique district there, and it'll get the food from all these and the science from both of those. So does it make more sense for it to be here? We would lose the food from building this on the tile, but we'd gain 4 industry, or we could go a little food focus first, lose the industry from this tile. Yeah, I think let's start off with a maker's quarter. But this wants to be surrounded by as many farmers' quarters as possible. Yeah, okay. So we'll do that. We can also, of course, like in any game, any one of these 4X games, build military units. Military units cost population, though, right? You're recruiting from the pool of people who could be working in your city. So it is a non-trivial cost. Now, there are some good reasons to want to lower the population in a city, because population affects your rate of food growth and stuff. So it's a little more complicated than just like, I'm losing people. But for the moment, it will basically just be losing people. So we have to be careful when we do it. And let's go to the technology screen. Oh, actually, you know what? Before we do that... Okay, no, we did not figure out what the strategic resource is, so it's definitely not copper. And this turn, two more players have entered the first era, so a lot of the cultures are getting picked. That culture choice is exclusive, by the way. The fact that we took the Babylonians meant that nobody else was allowed to take the Babylonians, and so there are some real benefits to getting into a new era first. You can see down here, our unique unit is on the technology that allows you to exploit copper. We're going to have to wait until we actually find some. My inclination is to take Calendar first, so that we can make use of that salt that's in our region. And also it makes farmers more effective, and early growth is very important. Unfortunately, Calendar does not... The thing that Calendar is a prerequisite for is pretty far off. I guess you need it for irrigation as well, and irrigation is certainly important. Bunch of extra food from every river tile, and... Yeah, alright, let's start with Calendar. We have very poor base science output, but we're working on it. And of course we can buy stuff out with wealth, but it's very expensive, and ransacking deer lairs has not quite gotten us there yet. Okay, so green is in Era 1. They are the Hittites now. And we can still have at them in the open, but in order to attack them in their own territory, I believe we have to declare war, formal war on them, which is a thing. So the Hittites have offered us a luxury trade treaty. So if we did this, we would be able to purchase access to each other's luxury resources, which can be very powerful, but I don't know. So they have this concept of war support tells us how the two different empires' populations feel about going to war with the other empire. Trashing someone's taking actions that cause someone's war support to drop is basically the way that you win a war. You convince their people that they no longer want to fight. So you can see we're both hanging sort of toward the middle. They're gaining because they picked a militarist factions. They're gaining a little bit of war support each turn. And their archetypes are cruel and militarist and impulsive. Okay, so maybe not a great neighbor, in fact. For the moment, do we want to be able to trade luxuries? I'll say yes.
A proposal as fair as a summer's day.
I see no reason not to take that on. So we could declare surprise war on them. Of course, this will give them a little bit of war support, and it will make us a trader. While you have the trader badge, you gain some war support when destroying an enemy district. So it sounds like a bad thing. It's not actually a bad thing. It marks you as a scoundrel, but you can sort of revel in being a scoundrel. I think for the moment, let's just leave it as it is. So does it say in here it doesn't give us like a mouse over what the rules are of peace. In most games by Amplitude, you can fight other players outside of like in neutral territory or in your own territory. Without having to necessarily be at war with them, but you cannot fight them in their own territory without having to be at war. So, you know what? Let's worry about it later. Let's just kill a mammoth right now. And I think we can probably do instant resolution here, but I'm gonna just be safe. Let's keep the really injured unit out of the front lines here. So, I guess you can stay on the high ground. Okay. So once again, definitely looking to get that surround on. We're not going to be able to do it this turn because you can only move, units produce a zone of control that prevents you from moving multiple spaces around them in a single turn so that you do not always get the surround for free. However, we do get a big bonus for attacking from the high ground here. Sadly, it is only adjacent to one tile of high ground. We're going to have all of the non-injured units lead off to reduce its strength, and then the injured unit can step in. Okay. Easy enough. $20. 20 money worth of spoils. And then we'll come over here and probably burn this next turn. Aha! An actual curiosity. Okay. So we'll get another little bit of money from that. Hopefully we will be able to accumulate enough cash to actually buy something out. At some point in the not too distant future. Obviously right now the stuff we're building is expensive. So I am totally going to just attack you in the open if you allow me to. The question is, do I want to stand on the sanctuary tile and then attack them? They'll probably just retreat, but if they do fight us, it'll be kind of awkward with them having the high ground. Oh, right, they're exerting this zone of control on this map too. Well, you're gonna make it so I can't even burn that sanctuary. That's fine. We'll just attack them right now. I'm sure they'll just retreat. Or maybe not. Maybe they figure they've got this. All right, I think we are going to deploy like this. I'm going to put the healthiest unit up on the high ground. And actually, I think I'm going to pull you back. There's no reason to be on the ground lower than they are. But you see, like, it matters a lot which direction we approached from in this battle. It's a thing that's important to keep in your mind when you're playing Amplitude strategy games. Okay, so they did the thing that I was expecting them to do. There's a hard cliff between these tiles, so I think they can't just attack down here. So I'm going to move onto their flag. And then I'm going to step these units back. I'm not going to let them get that high ground attack bonus, and if they want to come down here to try to reclaim their flag, we're going to get the surround bonus and stuff. Let's see what their play is. Okay, they did exactly the obvious thing, because of course that's what you would do. So we get this rear attack bonus. You'll notice their units just have higher combat strength than our units of the same type. That's presumably to make the AI a little bit more competitive against a player. All right, so we're going to get that rear attack bonus again here. If I can get... There we go. And then I think attacking uphill seems like probably a pretty bad idea. Yeah, even with them being so heavily damaged, this is a losing proposition. They're going to get to attack downhill, though. You know what? I am going to do this to weaken them enough that if they do the downhill attack, they'll at least die from it. Okay, well, I mean, you're showing me. You sure did reclaim your flag. Okay, I'm a little surprised they fought that instead of retreating. There are some costs to retreating. It affects your war support and stuff. So there are some reasons not to just run units away all the time. And I assume that kind of stuff is what was behind the decision making that we saw there. We discovered, okay, 5 additional science. What is our total science output per turn? Okay, so that was almost 2 turns worth of science. That's pretty good. I feel pretty alright about that. Sadly, we do not have enough movement to end our turn by getting into the river, which is what we would really like to do. Oh well. So, what would it cost to buy out the rest of this? It's coming down. I mean, we're going to be able to buy some of the turns off of that farmer's quarter at least. Now, it is worth noting, each district we build does cost us 10 stability in the city. Right now, stability is fine. But it's going to start dropping as we expand, and it's something we're going to have to pay pretty close attention to. So what, we only need to kill 1 more of their units to get an Era Star, right? And Era Stars do decrease in battle or in value over time, so we definitely, if we're going to get it, we want to get it as fast as we can. I do kind of want to burn this, but I also want to step back into my own territory. So you can see the indicator here telling us that we are entering a zone of control, and as such, that's dramatically increasing the movement cost of the tile. I think that's fine. We'll stop here, we'll get a turn of healing, and then we'll try to attack them at the beginning of next turn. Remember, we can't attack them as we're standing right now because of the cliff face. What is that? Ah, die. Okay. Interesting that die gives industry. That is not how 4X games usually characterize that. So we could buy out the farmer's quarters now. I think I'm going to. Let's get some extra food income here. And then prepare this. This is going to get us 7 science and 4 additional food. So remember, 2 science from each of those tiles, plus 3 science from being adjacent to the farmer's quarter. And then when we build more farmer's quarters around it to gather the food from these tiles out here, it will increase the science output even further. Unfortunately, that's a very expensive build. But I want to try to get the benefit of this as quickly as possible. You know what I'm realizing? If we were to build an outpost over here, we could really block them in. That might be a good idea. Just keep our neighbor weak and conquerable. Alright, let's see if we can... Nope, they ran away. Makes sense to me. I also would run away. We'll just walk back up in our territory and get a get a little bit more healing done. Can I make it to the high ground? Is there anything to see? No, not really. We're pretty far from home at this point. I should probably start... Well, I guess it's not that far. But we should probably start looping back. It's a good idea to get lots of vision. I will say this. It doesn't really look like there's any good territory to put an outpost down on, like in terms of resource yields. This region is a little... I guess, okay, there's this upper area by the river. This is probably where we would want to do it. And then that potentially gets us that second salt, which once we learn how to actually access it with Calendar, will be pretty good for us. And I think we just keep chasing them away, right? Like we're gonna corner them eventually. They cannot escape us forever. Have at them. Okay, they choose not to attempt retreat here. They seem to think this is good fighting ground. I don't necessarily think that their analysis is solid on that. So I mean, we're just gonna do that thing we did last time because it was really quite effective. I do not want to give them the benefit of the high ground attack on this. Yeah, we want to make them come down here. Although maybe if I do leave an army right here, I wonder if they would just attack down. I don't know for sure how this flag will be considered to have won the battle, and that will affect war support between our two empires. But we don't actually want to win the battle. We want to kill this guy specifically. And we know how the AI will behave if we do it like this, right? So let's just take advantage of that. So get our back attack. Get our back attack again. And then you're a little bit less wounded even than the last time we went for this. All right, and one of our units has earned a veterancy star. All right, got our first era star there, and it was pretty early in the era. I think we got very close to full value for that. Yeah. All right, and we're working on some of the others. Not so much the one that like we're supposed to be good at, but we're working. We could probably come down there and try to ransack their stuff as well, but I might want to try to knock out hostiles. This is the aggressive indicator. And that's not animals. Those are people. That is an independent people, probably. Well, let's run away from them on account of cowardice. Oh, hey. We found ourselves some volunteers. Ooh, a proper warrior unit. Okay, so 17 base combat strength. Makes me feel a little bit more secure. Oh, are we going to find that we actually can't move down the coast this way? Also, check out the whales. Floating gold, they call it. Atlantis tea. Alright, we do need to burn this sanctuary because we're like very desperate for money. And somebody should probably break off and put down the outpost here to prevent them from outposting this region instead. They'll still be able to, take it over. They'll just have to find and eliminate our outpost before they can do that. Let's have the most injured unit back up and head for that. Ah, damn it. It happened again. When I separate one body out of an army, I am expecting to still be in control of the one body, because that's the one I just gave a move order to. This works completely counterintuitively for me. All right, we'll just have to make sure this guy runs away quickly at the beginning of the turn, because otherwise he's going to get chomped. And where are we planning to do this? So it'll cost us 10 influence to found an outpost. That's no big deal. Apparently there's a really good tile over there. Because it's getting all of the industry from the mountains. But that's in a different region. We definitely want to do it over here. So, like, this 12 and 5, it'll take a while for the outpost to complete, but that is an awful lot of early food. And then we could build an industry district out this way to grab all that stuff. I actually really like that. So that'll be your plan for next turn. And let's go have a look. Is any of this climbable? No, this is all sheer cliff. All right, turn around. I was kind of hoping that there would be like a little beach around the side of that. No such luck. All right, run away with cowardice. Our favorite tool. So yeah, let's go ahead and put this down before they do something similar. And then, yeah, at the beginning of the turn, we're just going to run back over here. Oh, I guess this region is my territory now. And so we can stand here and still get healed. And we're just not going to give them the opportunity to burn our outpost. That's my plan. I'm a little leery about moving too far into the dark here. Let's take this carefully. Because we don't know where that aggressive party is. Okay, they're still on that tile. And they're both warriors, in fact. The Hyksos. Okay. Well, we're going to be doing some running away on this front as well. We're very good at running away. I hope. We're certainly trying to be good at running away. All right, so we're gonna start by issuing this fleeing move order. Jump in the river, and then next turn we'll move across the river over to there. Down here, I really just want to merge you back up. And then, I mean, right? What are they going to do? Why would we not fight them? So, units with a veterancy star fight as though their combat strength is 1 higher. Or, I guess, their combat strength is 1 higher, is the correct way to put that. Now, once again, they've got this super high ground tile, but it's not going to be hugely directly relevant to the combat. Like, this is another hard cliff face here, so I think we're going to see a very similar outcome. Actually, I'm going to have you be the bait. You can stand over here, and you can stand up there. And I mean, yeah, I think we do just execute the exact same strategy as before, right? Like, it's a little bit different because we move around in a little bit of a different way. We get our rear attack here, move you to there, get the rear attack here. And then you're likely to survive this, probably. Actually, I don't know. I'm gonna actually, no, I can't have you back up because you already moved within the zone of control. I mean, they're not that likely to survive this either. I'm actually really worried. A 3-point combat strength difference is pretty significant. Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. I did not kill them, but I also didn't die. I'll take it. And these both have veterancy stars now, which is cool. All right, well, we're just going to keep doing that. We keep winning battles, and so our war support, our people's support for a war against the Hittites keeps going up and up and up.
Come, relax. Let us.
And, you know, honestly, they're still feeling pretty into it. Obviously, they're losing war support when they lose battles. You also lose war support if you have an army retreat from battle, so that's part of the reason they might be hesitant to retreat, especially to save, like, a single unit that they don't actually care very much about. All right. The Cold War is going. Is it a Cold War? There's a lot of blood. But you know, it's not official. What I mean is it's not official. Okay, calendar is researched. We can now build the Artisans Quarter, which will allow us to exploit the tile that the thing is built on and then also get the benefit of the thing itself. I do think we got to finish the astronomy house first. I think that is fairly important. And they have offered up another unit. I don't know what they are doing, but if they're gonna keep offering us favorable combats, I'm gonna keep taking them. You are standing over here. You are not part of this fight. So we can just race up here and take their flag. I'm kind of curious. So if I don't just race up there and take their flag, it is gonna make it hard for us to fight them. Because, right, he's just going to park on the flag, and then if my goal is to attack, I have failed in my goal. It's not really going to be feasible for us to set up a... Here, I'm going to move you down here so you can provide moral support. So now I have +2 combat strength from that, +1 from veterancy, and still it is in their favor. I'm just going to end the round. You got to take the flag from me, friend. Okay, we did about as much damage as they did there. So, they're no longer defending. We have that benefit. I could have this army fall back and be replaced by the other veteran army. We just make them do that same attack again, but against somebody with higher combat strength. Yeah, dealing with all of the AI's units having superior stats is really rough. I think I'm actually just going to end the round. Yeah, we'll let them make the bad attack again. And then I might just do it again, or maybe now's the moment to swap in the healthy unit. No, let's let them just make the bad attack again. Starting off of their flag is really turning out poorly for them. So that is considered a victory. It has those effects on their war support and on our war support. We don't get progress toward our second murder star, but it is a successful battle, and their unit was driven back because of it. Units retreat from a lost battle. Oh, hey, a new thing spawned. So curiosities will just occur in already explored territory from time to time. It is useful to have your units continue to look around. And actually, that was a very good find. It's still going to be a while before we can buy off this astronomy house. Oh, that's a really unfortunate place for them to have run to. We're going to absolutely go over there and kill them. So, what do we want next? Is it just irrigation? Irrigation's pretty good, but it's also pretty high science. City defense will let us build our own proper warrior units, but you know what? Maybe archery is the way to go. Ranged units are pretty good, right? Do we have a lot of trees around here? We don't really. Most of our industry is coming from stone. It's a lot of rocky fields and stuff. We have some trees over here. These are woodland tiles, and then there's more trees in this region. Not a ton of them still. It's a lot of open prairie. That said, archery may still be the right move, even if the lumber yards are not great for us, just because ranged units. I am inclined to think so. Masonry gives us the ability to force our citizens to work. Probably not, a great plan, especially in the long term. All right. I think for right now, we're feeling pretty good. So, you'll notice there are 7 stars in the display here. Once we have 7 era stars, we can move up to the next era. It may not always be a good idea to do so immediately, but obviously moving up to the next era will show us 21 new stars to earn. It'll get us a culture that is more advanced and has more powerful stuff. It is a very, very important part of the game, but I think it's easy to fall into the trap of wanting to just go up as fast as possible all the time. You really want to make sure that you are being thoughtful and deliberate about that. So we're going to try to run in here and trap this unit if we can, as soon as the next turn actually starts. There we go. Here comes my murder star. We just got carpentry? What happened there? We discovered... Oh, the Danakil Desert is right here. Oh, wow. So we were very nearly the first people to discover that. The Hittites feel differently about me. I imagine so. I am giving them crap constantly. So they have become aggressive. They've aired grievances against us. They are cruel. Their war support is low. Yeah. So they have all these grievances. We have attacked them many, many, many times, and all of this stuff is potentially is providing them with a little bit of war support. And it's going to keep stacking up. And eventually, it's going to turn into a real problem. So obviously we have a pretty easy victory here. We just put the strong unit in front. Not really a lot of strategic moves to be employed on this one. They choose not to attack because to do so would be suicide. Yep, just stand there and maintain your defending bonus. I agree. That is the right move. Ooh, they have horses. So this unit has a base strength of 19. It is maybe time to stop picking on green. So we got 2 turns left on this outpost over here. 165 to buy that out. We may just let that complete normally, honestly. Because it is remaining very expensive. Okay, so here is this independent people. If they manage to actually build up into a city, then we'll be able to interact with them as sort of like a minor faction and maybe talk them into joining us. But for the moment, all we can really do is avoid getting killed by their warriors. And it is not clear to me where the huge boost of science came from that caused us to suddenly complete carpentry. Huh. Yeah, because it should have been 35 science. Yeah, I have no idea. Okay, well, with carpentry, we have the ability to create a harbor, which is maybe interesting. We do have two outposts that are basically like a city and an outpost, rather. They're basically like at the mouth of a river. But maybe we want to push to irrigation because we have so much river territory. Or maybe we want to pick up city defense into bronze working. We don't have a source of copper yet. Have we... We don't even see one nearby. Yeah, I am concerned that we are not going to be able to actually build our military unit. This is part of the reason I hesitate to pick a culture that has a unique unit that has a cost, a resource cost. We don't have a way of benefiting from animal barns either, and as such, we will not be able to build scout riders, so domestication would do nothing for us. We would just be paying 19 turns, effectively, for irrigation. But irrigation is really good. Or maybe we do, in fact, just want to go to fishing. How good would a harbor be for us? Over here, it would just grab... Interesting. This is ocean. This is deep ocean water in this little bay here. I wonder why that is. So the answer is not actually that good. The tiles that we would get from our harbor are pretty poor. Let's go city defense. Let's get the ability to build the real combat unit, and also, also it might be good to have some defenses, because I think I may have upset our neighbor a little bit, and he has superior weaponry now. That'll give us a tiny bit of insurance, and then we can figure out a real plan later. We have reached... Word has reached us of the Mycenaeans. We've met Purple. Purple has 516 fame already. You know, we're not going to be doing as well as the AI on fame early on because, of course, we're playing on a relatively high difficulty level. The AI is going to tend to start with a lot of stuff, and they're going to have a lot of bonuses. We'll catch up. Don't be too panicked about these numbers just yet, even though you did just hear me panic about these numbers. Do as I say, not as I do. I mean, we could try to push for a luxury trade with them. Let's see if they'll do it.
A proposal for your
Okay, so this doesn't actually trade any luxuries. This just unlocks the ability for us to trade luxuries. It is made our diplomatic relations close enough that we can buy access to each other's stuff. Once we have the salt, probably a lot of people will want to buy access to our salt because it is a thing that produces food. It looks to me like they're planning a ransack, so I'm just going to step over here and remind them that we do have units, even though our units are inferior. They are numerous. Numerousness counts. And we'll see what they make of that. And we might want to just bring these units home. The information gathering has been good, but also I am concerned that we are maybe moving toward actual war. So, an extra warrior would be really nice to have around. Alright, so, now that we have a second outpost, we can turn it into a second city. Or we can link this outpost to Babylon and make Babylon a 2-region city, which is what I'm a little more inclined to do. This is a lot of influence, but honestly, we're making a lot of influence, so it's maybe not such a big deal. The fact that we have 2 wonders in our territory is pretty excellent. That's actually very, very lucky. If I put this down, do I have to actually... Oh no, we could just buy that with influence. Okay, I'm happy using influence for that, for sure, rather than building it with build time, which is what we're going to have to do with the one in Babylon. And then, yeah, is this a second city, or is it just an extension of Babylon? That was my plan, but that was my plan before I knew that we were going to get totally blocked in. Now, these ones are... Oh, these ones have already founded a city, and they're peaceful. So we can maybe just get them on side. You know what? I'm gonna just link this up. Let's make Lily Borea. How do I do that again? I unselect it. I click this. And attaching does have an influence cost, but it's less. And then that means that this city now benefits from the exploitation tiles of this outpost that we put down. So we're feeding a lot of resources right back into Babylon. We have this extra salt, which of course is wonderful. When we build our bonus food from rivers stuff eventually after we research it, it's going to be very powerful. So, do I want to buy out the astronomy house? I don't think so. I think what we're going to do is we're going to give some gifts here to the Elamites. Right now we're getting +3 sort of diplomatic relationship with them per turn. And I'm not 100% sure where that's coming from. Maybe that's just like their base value. So they're individualists, and they have these ideologies, and being closer to these ideologies would make life easier for us. We haven't really engaged with the ideology system at all yet, unfortunately. So they are peaceful, and they do have a city. They have reached the zenith of what they will ever be able to achieve on their own. And I think we're going to feed them some influence here. I'm gonna praise them with both influence and money, and that will increase the amount of diplomatic relationship we are building with them each turn. So when we pass the 10-point threshold and we enter tolerant, we're able to buy their resources from them, and they'll share their vision with us. When we move up into cordial, we can hire their armies as mercenaries and stuff, and then once we pass this 90-point threshold, we can convince them to assimilate by feeding them enough influence. Hopefully, we'll actually be able to get there, because I would love this region. Otherwise, our empire is going to get kind of squished in here. And we can still claim this, but then we have another independent nation up there, so we should definitely get on claiming this. Actually, we're going to have a limited amount of time to do that. But yes, that's my strategy here, is just to welcome them into the empire. And so for the moment, what do I do with you? I guess I sort of answered my own question. I run you up here and I have you claim this region for us so that nobody else fills in this space and completely blocks me in. And you lot are all just trying to make it home. Am I actually going to be able to get up there? That doesn't look climbable. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. That's totally not climbable. We could, of course, just try to burn down Alioth. Actually, maybe that's the best way to deal with this. Yeah, okay, we'll give that some consideration. All right, and I think that is maybe an okay place to call it for this episode. So the intention with this series is to put out an hour of gameplay every day until we reach the end of the scenario. This one is 200 turns long, and it runs through the end of the Industrial Age. So we're going to get to see, toward the end here, a whole bunch of game systems that were not open to us in previous open dev beta periods. There's like railroads and artillery units. We'll get to see some of the more complicated war stuff, and I'm very excited about that. So come back next time, tomorrow, for our attempts to turn this burgeoning tribe into a real civilization. And we'll see you then.